Hello, my friends. Hello, my life warriors. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to the Day In, Out podcast. Day in podcast? Ha ha ha. Welcome to episode 324 and Happy New Year to one and all. Yes, today's guest is Laura Artero on the podcast. How can I put it? She is a coach slash counselor slash, basically helping people with get over their self-doubt and self-sabotage. Let's just say there is a number of us who do that on a regular basis. Hello and welcome. How are you today, Laura?
Oh, hello, Miwa, and thank you for having me here. It's a true honor. I'm very well, thank you. Very, very well. Very excited to be talking with you.
Excellent, excellent. I'm glad to have you here today, especially week 3 in this new year. The reason why I would love to talk to someone like yourself because everyone makes New Year's resolutions and they're like going, it's the new year, it's the new me. But yes, self-doubt, self-sabotage comes into play, and especially around about this point of the year all of those New Year's resolutions go out of the window. Now, how would you if I had someone in front of you right now, what would you say would be a strategy or a tactic to help
Hmm.
combat this self doubt and self belief?
Yeah, so I, I'm, let's say, an expert in self-sabotage and self-doubt on how
Mm,
to overcome them, better than being an expert in them. And I use different modalities, and the modalities I use the most are hypnotherapy because I'm a
mm,
hypnotherapist. I use mindfulness, self-compassion, NLP, and I just use all of them, creating a methodology that has become mine. And so, on your thing about New Year's resolutions, I
mm,
think that we should actually write resolutions every single day when we wake up. We don't have to wait for a specific time of the year, although it
mm.
helps sometimes, like Mondays, it's a for new week's resolutions, then the 1st of January or big events. And actually every day is a big event. And this is coming from my love for mindfulness and being in the present. But answering your questions, I think I think that the what we hear from most people is, "Oh, I want to do this, but I feel I can't do it." Oh well, get out of your comfort zone and do it.
Mm.
And this getting out of the comfort zone, I think, can be a very good advice, a very good tip, but not for everyone and not for every kind of obstacle that we have. And so I think that there are situations and things we want to achieve that can create a little bit of fear in us, but it's not really fear, it's excitement. And sometimes we mistake the excitement for fear because the physical sensations are basically the same. But other times, if we insist in doing something that makes us go outside our comfort zone, and even if we try our best, we keep hearing that little voice inside, this is not for you, you don't have what it takes, that's not good. Well, probably it's time to work with that little voice instead of pushing through the obstacle. Does it make sense?
I hear you. I hear you. It's just that sometimes that little voice can be a little SOB, to say the least. It's like, yeah. So, like, how, like, that little voice, which lives within all of us, like, how do
Mm-hmm.
you, like, turn that little voice, being sometimes a very negative cheerleader, into a positive cheerleader?
Yeah. Um, so to explain this, I created a metaphor. If you allow me the metaphor, and this
I can.
is the great. The reason for the metaphor is this: is that that little voice sends messages that are coming from our subconscious mind, not the conscious mind. So if I take a step backward, our mind is, let's say, made by two main parts. There's the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is very logical. And so is the part of the mind that says, okay, I'm going to have these 10 resolutions for the new year's, let's say. Fine. And I'm going to go outside my comfort zone to achieve them and to be successful, blah, 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 blah. Okay. But then from the subconscious mind, which is not logical, the little voice comes up and says, no, that you can't, you can't do this. So the subconscious mind is not a bad guy. Both of them are good guys. The conscious and the subconscious, they are just two different parts of our mind, and they have a different role for us. So
Mm,
while I said the conscious is logical and we need that, the subconscious instead is like I imagine it like a container of programs, and these programs are, when this happens, I do this and this. And when that happens, I do that and that. And so it can also be when I run, the heartbeat goes a little bit faster. These are things you don't control. So the physiological functions are programs in the subconscious mind. And luckily, we don't control them consciously. They happen.
mm,
So we don't have to remember to breathe. We don't have to remember to digest or how to make or the speed of our heartbeat and so on. But then there are other programs which can be, for instance, uh, when I'm in front of many people, I can't talk because I'm rubbish at talking in front of people. Or if I need to publish a video on social media, I won't because I'm really bad at this, and I'm not entitled to say what I say.
mm,
And so the little voice is basically voicing out the program that tells you that that specific thing is not for you. But that is just a belief. And we mistake the belief for truth. But no, it's just a belief. A belief is a story, it's a program.
mm,
So imagine that inside the subconscious mind, and here my metaphor, there is a guardian. I call it the guardian of beliefs. And the guardian has this role. Every time we go against a belief we have created about ourselves, the guardian says, no, 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 no. You're going into a dangerous thing. So don't do it. And I imagine this guardian of beliefs with a big microphone just calling up an army of self doubt thoughts. Just say, go into his or her mind, in the head actually, and tell her, tell him, tell them to stop. And so we hear the voice, no, no, you're not good at doing this. But you go outside the comfort zone because you've been given that advice or you think this is the only way. And the more you try and the more the voice gets louder and louder and louder, it's because you don't hear it. So the purpose, the goal of the guardian is to stop you to do something that you decided was not for you. So
mm,
it's a bit like a protector. He's protecting you, following the orders you have given him, maybe when you were 2 years old. So these orders, these rules are not valid anymore, but you need to tell him. And the subconscious mind uses as a language imagination. And this is why metaphors and symbolisms are good. So, of course, we don't have a guardian of beliefs inside us, but you can imagine that there is like a protector side of you that is
mm,
trying to make you on alert, like, don't do this. And if you go outside the comfort zone, you try to push through your limits, sometimes it's not a good strategy because it only makes that little voice screaming louder and louder and louder until you stop. So the way, in my opinion, is working with that negative cheerleading voice, as you correctly
yeah,
said, and asking why, and maybe updating the voice, just saying, I understand. thank you for the message. You don't want to pretend that the message was not there. You just say, are you acknowledge? Like, thank you for the message. I am actually, and you say your age, because very often the subconscious program is stuck on a very different age than yours. So I would say I'm 51, and right now it's my desire to, let's say, speak in front of people.
Mm,
And sometimes that works. But certainly, it's acknowledgement. The first step is to acknowledge the voice, not to pretend it's not there, not to dismiss the voice, just say, ah, stupid voice, go away. You're just making me stuck, but just saying, oh, thank you. I hear you. But actually, I'm going to do it anyway.
okay. So, so yes, one strategy: get out of your comfort zone, which is preached like preached from up on high all around the world. You hear it on a regular basis. Two, you would say and cooperation and acknowledgement. Is that the only two, or is there another one out there which you can use as a strategy?
So I think these are the main two, and then
Mm,
nothing is black or white. There are many shades, and so it really depends. But mainly is that sometimes going outside the comfort zone is a good strategy,
yeah.
but sometimes it is not. It's about knowing yourself and understanding that little voice,
Mm,
knowing exactly what is that the little voice is telling you, because very often we don't know it. And the reason is that we hear that message so often and we heard it for so many years that we got so much used to it that it's like such a soft whisper that we don't recognize that it's there. So it would be accepting, I think, that there are voices that are uncomfortable inside, but they are
mm,
not meant to make you struggle. They are meant to help you. And so I think the tip I can give is listen and try to really be curious and interested about what that little voice is really telling you. Because sometimes it's not what you think.
mm.
Um, very often I find it works like this.
Yeah, no, like there is a Aesop fable where basically the sun and the wind like make have a bet where they
Mm.
see this man wearing a coat walking down the street, and the wind goes to the sun. I go, I bet you I can make this man take off his coat, and the wind comes in and blows harder and harder and harder, and yet this man grabs his coat tighter and tighter. And like, yeah, eventually the wind gives up. But then the sun goes, okay, my turn. And just gently, somewhat like a whisper, like gets a little bit warmer, gently. No, like, and like, yeah, guy's walking along, and eventually the man takes off his coat. Just very passively, very gently, and yeah, brings about that change. And I think what many people get caught up in is, yeah, especially when it comes to like either a new year, a new day of like a new week, a new month, that is their bang moment, and they shout about it, it goes bang, and yet what really comes to the change is that whisper, and it doesn't necessarily, they don't know when that change has really started. I might be wrong, you know?
I love it. It's
Yeah.
that gentle and constant whisper.
Yeah. Because
So
like this
imagine
is
if,
no, no, please say.
sorry.
No, carry
No,
on.
I just say, imagine if the gentle and constant whisper is, how can I say, good for what you want to achieve. So it's cheerleading you. That's amazing. Imagine if that constant gentle whisper is saying, this is not for you. You're not good at this. you start to really believe that. And because it's constant and gentle and constant,
mm,
you don't really question it anymore. You just think, of course, I'm not good at this.
mm.
But actually, perhaps you are. Simply that message is an old message based on something that is not true anymore.
Yeah, I do like very true, very true. Because like this is the thing. I think a number of times I where people also fall down. I might be wrong about this, but it's something I observed. Like people don't do the sort of necessary like self-reflection to like
Mm.
actually figure out what sort of direction they want to go in. And that's one of the things where, yeah, the self-sabotage comes in because they haven't actually, as you say, reconciled with the negative cheerleader or the cheerleader in some regards.
I agree. Self introspection, and I think working on ourselves can
Mm,
be is the first step. And sometimes this can make us uncomfortable because sometimes we don't want to face what is inside because it's
yes.
too difficult. Um, and I think that the word you said, being gentle, is also true with ourselves. Um, I think that in our time, in our world right now, there's a lot of natural comparison between others being better than us and this, and so thinking, yeah, but I'm not good enough because the world is very fast now. There are a lot of stories and images and videos of people on social media. And even if we know that most of the times people are not real and they're just showing their best, we still get bombarded by this day after day. And so that can only make us feeling not good enough, even more than probably it was once, because there were less ways of comparing ourselves to others. Um, so I think that one way to deal with that is using self compassion. So
Mm,
when the messages inside are so difficult and we struggle to do a little bit of self inquiry of going within ourselves, is trying to be gentle with ourselves and being compassionate, because we tend to be, I mean, most people, compassionate towards others and thinking, oh, I'm sorry, my friend is having a hard time. I just want to tell them that I love them anyway, no
mm,
matter what they do. But we are a bit unable to offer the same treatment to ourselves. Instead, when we hear that inner voice saying, but you're not good enough, what do you think you are? Really, you want to do this? Imagine that voice constantly in your mind. And then you can say, okay, I hear the voice. Thank you, voice. You're trying to protect me. But uh, I'm worthy of my own love anyway. And
mm,
I accept myself even with that voice. It's okay. It's not easy, but it can really shift so much the perspective we have about ourselves, and it would require some training because we train ourselves usually to say, "Oh, come on, stop," and carry on instead of saying, oh, "Okay, you need a hug, a self hug, you need some love and respect towards yourself, and that's okay. You are okay. You're doing your best because perfection doesn't exist, and usually the people who suffer the most from self sabotage and self doubt are those that are trying the best, even too much, and they are trying to be perfect. But perfection does not exist.
mm. I often say procrastination is like perfection is the ally to procrastination because the amount of times, yeah, no, I've got to have like, I've got to have the perfect podcast set up. Oh, yeah, I've got to have the perfect lights. Oh, yeah, I'm just waiting for the perfect opportunity. Oh, yeah, when like, yeah, just waiting for the perfect day. And each time you say that, a day goes by, a week goes by, month, a year, and like, yeah, all your grandiose plans and everything what should be there has now moved on. And yeah, what happens? Ah, yeah, you know what? Missed that opportunity. Ah, just got to wait for the perfect, and it just carries on again and again and again. Sometimes when you need to just start and just get a little bit grimy with it, I say.
I totally agree. Um, I think that there is a little practice that perhaps can help on this,
Oh,
since we started to talk about this. And it's about training our brain this time, that of course influences the mind, on noticing also the things that we get done and the good things that we do. Because, our brain is a very old brain and is still programmed to survival. The lives that we live are usually quite safe. We are lucky for the parts of the world that we are living in right now, and we are pretty safe. So it's not necessary to be programmed so much for survival. And when we are programmed for survival, the things that the brain naturally notices are the negative things, the things that we didn't get done, and what we didn't do well, and so on. And so this is not the fault of anyone. I think it's very reassuring to understand that this happens to every single of us, a single one of us. It's just that our brain naturally goes to what is not good enough.
mm,
And that means that every time something happens that we consider not good enough or a failure, that information goes straight into a part of the brain for memory, so that we don't go to that route anymore, because there may be danger, there may be a predator that is waiting for us. uh, if instead we notice something that we like, that we did well, or something beautiful, something we love, uh, that thing, unless we do something, doesn't go into that part of the brain, because we don't want to become too much the type of happy-go-lucky, otherwise we may get eaten by the lion. And so there's a way, and the way is to, well, the gratitude everybody talks about, but done in a specific way. So every time we notice something that gets done, that we do, or something we love, something that we have and gives us pleasure, we want to stay with the physical sensation of that pleasure gives us for at least 10 to 30 seconds. And only then it goes to that part of the brain. And so it can become like uh, a memory that the brain naturally will use for the future. And so that makes us more able naturally to notice the things that are good in our lives. And maybe these are also personal aspects of ourselves. So I'll give you an example. We
okay.
go to bed and we think, oh, dear me, I didn't do this, that didn't go well. And then we fall asleep feeling awful. Instead, before going to bed, you think, okay, what are three? Usually I do three because it's very short. What are three things that I already have in my life that are good? It can be three things that happen in that day, or three things that happen in your life. And these can be, yeah, the roof you have under your head, but it can also be that wonderful coffee I had this morning in that cup. Oh, it could be that person said thank you when I did that, and there was a genuine smile, and I love that moment. So you see, there can be moments, things, people in your life. And let's say it's the coffee. I'm Italian, so I'm strong with coffee.
No,
You're
I
drinking
didn't.
your
It's a,
it can be tea, it can be anything you like.
I knew it was not going to be tea. Come on.
No. So for me it's coffee. I had a coffee that was particularly nice, and I think, oh, but that coffee this morning was amazing. And so I take myself back in time in the morning when I had the coffee and I feel, ah, the smell of that coffee. And I feel the pleasure that that smell of the coffee, the anticipation of drinking it gave me. And for me, it's an expansion. I don't know, let's say in the chest. I feel like, ah, and I stay with that expansion in the chest for, let's say, 3 breaths.
Mm.
Ah, and you make it even stronger. Oh, I love that. Ah, okay. And now you're sure that you have imprinted your brain with that experience. So you do it for 3 things uh, you have. And then I think this is very pertinent with what we were saying. 3 things about yourself that you like. And this sometimes is a struggle, sometimes it's easier. It could be a physical aspect of yourself, it could be a quality you have, the way you have spoken to someone or how you conducted your work. And I know you run, so the, I don't know, the run you had or the power you put in a run, or I don't know, the challenge you're facing and how proud you feel about this. These are your own traits and strength. And instead of dismissing them, you take 3 breaths with each of them and how much pleasure they give you for 3 breaths. And it's good to connect to the physical body to find that sensation of, that makes me feel so good. And then you expand it, you amplify it for 3 breaths, and you're sure that that is a very good way to train your brain instead of living it just by chance.
Yeah, because like this is the thing, like what you've described there, like beautiful as it is, but like there's times where people are like, I'm too busy to sort of like take this moment to sort of reflect on that on my day. I'm go 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 go, and like yeah, being able to like go, yeah, you know what, I appreciated this, I appreciated that, and like it doesn't actually enter their lexicon in any form way, and therefore they might, to an outsider, they have everything they possibly can need in this world, but to them, they're bereft of yeah, so much joy, so much pleasure, like hope, everything. It it's one of those things which I think it puzzles so many people, but it's just like yeah, being able to take that moment and reflect
Mm,
at that precise time. Because what you've said, it doesn't take a lot of time, 30 seconds, a minute the most. But yet people don't do it. It's like it puzzles me. Like, why do you think like
mm.
I know this might is out of your sort of remit in some regards, but yeah, time to like just simply taking those like those brief moments out of one's life. What have people said to you with regards to that? They can't like if it's in the positive
Ah,
or the negative.
so sometimes you say, okay, yes. And then we have another session after a week. Said, I didn't have time. And so it's okay. It's okay. Accept this and find a way to find the time. I think we can be very creative in this, but
Mm,
you said something so true, especially when I teach mindfulness. I can see some people practice, other people don't practice, and myself as well. Sometimes it's a struggle to actually sit and
mm,
do this meditation. But then the moment I sit, it's just choosing to create the time. So one very easy way, in my opinion, is to create a little ritual, but a very short one. Because if we try to say from nothing, half an hour each day to do all meditation and self-inquiry practices, and come on, we are not gonna do it. 3 minutes. Do we have 3 minutes? If we want to improve ourselves, we do have 3 minutes. And the practice I described earlier can be done also on the spot. I drink that coffee, I absorb that fantastic sensation right away. It's just
mm,
about noticing when good things are happening.
mm. Noticing when good things are happening.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, like this is the thing. Yeah. As you alluded to earlier, yeah, because our brains are wired for like the sort of realm of survival. Yeah, avoid that big cat. Oh my God, there's a bear. Like, make sure you're running faster than that person over there. It's like, yeah, and everything like that. Yes, you pick up on the negative. It's like when you look through all your comments, if you've got a whole bunch of comments on a post or a video, like, yes, everything could be positive, everything, everyone loves you and depth, but yeah, there's that one comment which it might not even be that negative, which will stand out like a big sore thumb. That's like, hey, you're going, but
Yeah.
I thought I was brilliant. You, everyone else thought I was brilliant. But yes, let me obsess about this one person who doesn't have a
Yes.
picture and just like who knows where they might be living. But
It's a
it's
very good example.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I just think, yeah, I wish people could take that time to basically have a little bit more self-reflection, come up, like, not even devise like sort of life ordering plan, but just a plan which might provide them with a little bit more joy, a little bit more sort of like get
Mm,
up and go, a little bit more happiness. But it's one of
mm,
those things where this time of year, as I say, everyone goes with that big grand, and unfortunately, yeah, about 80% of people have already given up on that sort of like dream going forward. Like,
mm.
it's
Very
quite,
true.
yeah, because like this is the thing. Now, you as a coach, as a teacher, as someone who's helping the unlearned become learned, now you've done this yourself, like on occasion, haven't you? Because, like, yeah, like,
I've done it so many times because
uh huh,
when I use hypnosis on my clients, I teach them how to do it themselves. It's just about practicing things, and so I think it's very important. I I know how to relax touching two fingers because I created that program in me. Or, I try to meditate. I do the gratitude every day, and I try to do it in the morning when I wake up or before going to bed. I try to teach my daughter just before saying good night, just say, what is one thing that you really like today? Good night. So that, you know, also notice the beautiful things that are happening in your life because there are. And if we dismiss them, it's a shame because this is the life that we have for sure. And um, the life is for living. I strongly believe in that. The life is for living, and each moment counts.
hmm
And we don't live just for the big moments, because also all the moments that take to get to the big event are worth to be lived fully. And unless we train our brain and our mind with intention, otherwise the mind and the brain will be trained by chance, which means by all the negative things that you keep noticing, by the anxiety, the stress, and the better you get at being anxious or thinking that you're not good enough, and the better you're gonna get, and the louder that voice will be, and the more your life will be like this. So those few minutes a day, I think, are very important to be more intentional with your life and not just, you know, blaming life or other things. It's a bit down to us, a little bit. Then sometimes life is hard and sometimes life is easier, okay. But as you said earlier, even those people that we think have everything, actually they have to deal with their own self-doubts. And probably the more popular you are and the more you want to show that you're good enough, and the higher it gets to actually feel that you are doing things well. So everybody has to deal with this.
Yes, like taking personal responsibility, knowing that you're enough in this world is like, two of the hardest things for quite a lot of people to do because yeah, like like as you mentioned before, everyone doing the sort of self comparison thing, as they say, comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah, that they compare themselves to this, that, the other, and they have no idea what type of work has gone behind what they might have been comparing themselves. If it's another person or anything like this, what the sort of realm of responsibilities need to be taken to get there. Because like there are people which are, "Oh, I want to be a multi-millionaire." You go, okay, yes. If that's what you truly want, great. But if you point at that millionaire over there, you have no idea what their day is like. It's not like they get up and yeah, they go out, do their thing, drive their fast cars, and like, yeah, have a great time. It might be like that, but like no one tells them about the 14-hour working days, like not actually getting to see their family, like yeah, not having a relationship or like close ties with friends because they are always working. And yeah, maybe constantly being alone. That doesn't come into the equation. It's always upside, baby. Always the upside. And that's what people like want to pick up on. Uh, you know?
Yeah, I think it's very important to enjoy what we have.
Mm,
And that doesn't say that you shouldn't have more and you shouldn't go for more. It just says enjoy and notice what is already in your life.
mm.
And when you understand this, you can be more able to get even more because you are kind of at peace with yourself.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, I have to ask this. Like, I've got a couple more questions, and yes,
Yes?
sadly, got to end this lovely conversation. But like,
Mhm.
in like this forthcoming year, what would be something you would like to achieve this year? Is there a milestone you want to achieve, or like, yeah, just something, yeah, small and pleasant, something will bring you a little bit of joy?
Hmm. That's a tricky question, but a natural one. A natural one. I have a few things that I want to achieve, um, and one would be personal life. I would like to travel more, and to travel more it means probably mm, setting up a few things so that that can happen. Um, Another would really be to find a way to reach more people with the messages I have been sharing with you, and maybe even a little bit more. So finding a way to be able to reach out
Hmm.
more people from a little bit everywhere. I love
Okay.
that. Mm.
Hmm. Fair enough. Travel and meet more people. May I ask where would be your like A destination, your B destination, and your C destination? Yeah.
Ah, this is. Oof. I would really love to travel to Japan. It's one trip that is in my dreams. I would also love to travel to South America,
Okay.
so very two very different places. And I'm very interested in how the culture is in both these sides of the world, which is very different, but somehow there are all teachings that are so incredible from both parts of the world, I think.
Okay. Okay. Oh.
So you see, there's a more like the Zen and mindfulness. This is more a Westerner world, but that meditation based on being present in the moment that comes from the east of the world, while from the more west, but I think more south of America, there are a lot of spiritual practices based on very old teachings that are very much on being very grounded and um, almost physical. And I think that both ways of approaching this self-inquiry and self-improvement are very fascinating for me. Very, very fascinating. And so I like to explore them in my trips. So that would be a very good thing to achieve this year.
Mhm. You know what? I wish you luck with your plan, your scheme to
Thank you.
not to get to Japan and get to like Latin America and to see it all. Ah, like yes, I'm going to have to sadly end it here. But like, let me just say thank you for wait before we get there. How can people find you out on these internet?
My website is just my name and last name, so it's lauraartero.com. And I'd also like to offer a little guided hypno meditation to your listeners if they want to, that would help them to discover what really that inner voice is telling them, because this is the first step. And then there's also a second part to the same meditation, which
Mm,
is about seeing with your mind's eyes what you can achieve when that voice is silent. Because I think that being able to have a vision of what you want to achieve, but believing that that is possible, makes you more able to get there, because you believe in yourself and your actions will be very different. And so through that hypno meditation, you can discover these two things. So I love to offer this. There's a link. And otherwise, I'm not that active on social media, but I try to. So you can find me, and it's very easy, just my name and last name.
Perfect. Laura, it's been a pleasure having you on today. All the information will be in the show notes, in the description down below. So, yes, reach out. Reach out to her if you're like an event company or like running a seminar in like either Japan or Latin America. Invite her along, help her with that. And yeah, brilliant. You have been
Thank
superb.
you very much. Thank you.
Ah,
I really enjoy the time with you. And I hope we can connect again.
Oh, no doubt. Yes, we will. Yes, we can. Laura, pleasure having you on today. Brilliant. My friends, let me just say this to you, my friends, my life warriors. Thank you for sticking with us to the end of the show. Please stay well, stay safe, be awesome, be excellent, be fantastic, be all the positive bees you can be in this world and then some. Have a great day, guys. See you later. Peace.